Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of the CeMAP Study Podcast, where in this episode it's kind of what the people wanted. You guys have been asking me for this for so long. So it's another podcast special, and I have a very special guest who I'll introduce in just a second. And the backstory to this one is, you guys keep messaging and saying, Charlotte, it's great that you can get a CeMAP qualified, but what the fuck do we do after that point? What happens? Nobody knows. It's kind of like the big great unknown. So a few of you messaged and said, hey, do you reckon you could get an old student back? And I'm not going to refer to as old because that's not the case. However, Erin, hello.
Hi.
How long has it been since you did a masterclass?
I think we just over a year, so I think it was March 24.
So we can call this a year in the life of a masterclass student or CeMAP qualified person. But give us an introduction. So I'm going to introduce you as Erin, ex one of my favourite students ever, super successful mortgage advisor. But you give us a bit of an intro.
So yeah, I am super successful, obviously. But yeah, I did your masterclass, last year, which feels like it's been the world's quickest year in the world. But very shortly after passing my CeMAP, I went self-employed. So I was in a very secure employed job as a mortgage trainer, and thought, stuff it, let's go self-employed. And I've not looked back since, and I love it. I think it's the best thing I've ever done.
Do you know what? I think that's why. One of the reasons that I wanted you specifically on this is because I remember working so closely with you for CeMAP 1, 2 and 3, and then for you being like, oh my God, Charlotte, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do it. And it had literally, like, your certificate had not even come in the post, and you were like, I'm just going to run with it. Oh. And you did. I mean, how has it been for you?
Yeah, and I did. I remember when I spoke to the company that I currently work with, I hadn't passed my CeMAP 3 yet, and that was really scary at the time, because I remember thinking, like, I've spoken to this company and I've told them that I'm going to pass my CeMAP, but I haven't. So what if I don't? And I think that pressure actually really helped me, because I knew, okay, I've got to do this now, and there's no going back, and I've just got to jump with it. But I think it also was the challenge that I needed to take that leap from something that was so secure and so safe, that I'd always got paid every month. I paid all my tax and national insurance.
Because it came out beforehand, because you're employed, right?
Yeah. And I never had to worry about if I was off sick or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, life was easy. And I'd always toyed with the thought of, what am I going to do next? What is that going to look like?
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want to sit on my CeMAP for a long time. I didn't quite think that I'd be handing in my notice before I'd passed my last CeMAP, but here we are. But I'm so glad that I did do it, because it gave me that almost oomph to be like, just go and do it. And like I said, I've not looked back since.
Amazing.
I'm so glad that I did it.
That's so good. So we're going to come on to the kind of everything that happened after CeMAP, and in a lot more detail. Don't know if anyone can hear the dogs barking in this recording. You'll either be able to hear it or we will be able to edit it out, but it's because our food has arrived, which is our good luck high five. Thanks so much for doing this.
The only reason I'm here.
pre big career change. So you were working as a mortgage trainer for a really big company. It was an employed role. It was pretty secure. Well, really secure. What had your experience with CeMAP been like before you came on a masterclass? Had you done anything?
Yeah. So I actually tried to do my CeMAP in 2019. And I think I'd passed like a couple of units of CeMAP 1, and then there was just those last couple of units that were just kicking me in the ass, and I just thought, I can't do this. And unfortunately, Charlotte, you weren't a thing then.
Yeah, that was before my time.
So I was like, oh, do you know what? I just can't do this. Quit. I just thought, no, I'm just going to have to decide that this isn't a thing for me, and just take it. Then COVID happened, and then my job completely changed, and I started to work from home, and that was really a big challenge. And I think that's what made me realise that I wanted to try again, was because I think I'd grown up quite a lot in COVID, and my life was starting to change quite a bit more, and I thought, actually, maybe I can give it another go now. And I'd been a mortgage trainer for, I think, about 6 months at this time. And I think I just thought maybe I've got a bit more knowledge behind me now that it's not going to be as scary. And I did my CeMAP 1, and I'm just not very good with exams. I just don't cope very well in them. And I'd done my CeMAP 1, and again, I was trying to do it on holiday, and that's where I found you. And again, I think I had like a couple of units to pass, and again, they were kicking me in the ass. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to get through this. And then I bought your e-learning platform, literally spent like the last week of my holiday engrossed in this, and came home, and then less than a week later sat my last 2 exams for my CeMAP 1, passed them. Yes. So if you're telling me that that's not a sign, then I don't know what is. And then I remember sitting there, and my coach at the company that I used to work with said, like, you know, get on the next one quickly. And I was like, oh, God.
I don't want to do it anymore.
My brain won't let me. And I remember him just saying, like, you've just got to roll into it and just get it done. And I just thought, let's see what this bird that I've just bought her e-learning,
this chick whose face I have to keep looking at on screen.
Let's see if she does anything for CeMAP 2 and 3. And I think I was a part of a WhatsApp group, or I don't think it was on Facebook at this point or Instagram, but you were offering your like first CeMAP 2 and 3 bulk masterclass.
Oh, it was the trial run, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I remember thinking, get me on that thing. I need it. And so signed up, took a week off work, and I think my CeMAP 2 took me 2 goes, again, like passed one bit, and then just had to retake it. And then I think I remember someone saying to me, probably was even yourself, but that CeMAP 3 is like the hardest. But because it's scenario based, bloody loved it.
See, that's so funny, because a lot of people, it is a complete catch-22. Like, some people love CeMAP 3, some people hate it. I have students who have breezed through CeMAP 1 and 2 and they get to CeMAP 3, and even though it's the same material from CeMAP 2, it's just like hitting a brick wall, they just cannot do it. Whereas you were like sailed through. And
that was the only one that I passed first time.
That's crazy. It's a testament to how hard you worked and how much focus and attention you put in. But also at that point, the masterclass, that was a trial run, so I think everybody got it discounted, because I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. It might be awful, but just take it at a discount and let's see what happens. And, you know, you still got through it, and it's come on so far since then. But what's really impressive is that you jumped ship before you'd even done CeMAP 3.
Yeah, so I remember walking out of my CeMAP 2 exam. Obviously, you don't find out your results straight away. And I remember walking back to my car. It was only like less than a 5-minute walk, and I thought, just gonna zip on Instagram, see what's going on, and saw this guy put on this post saying, we're looking for CeMAP advisors, like, get in touch. And it was someone that I knew from the company that I was at the time working for and with, and like I'd worked with this guy before and everything, and I sort of knew his morals and whatnot. And I thought, oh, I'm going to message him. And before I'd even knew what my outcome for my CeMAP 2 was, I had messaged him to say, can I have a chat about this post? And then, like, by the time I got home, I think I'd passed like half of it. And then I remember being so close on that one as well. And I thought, oh, damn it, if I'd just passed that one, I could have been like passed by the time like I'd even speak to him. But yeah, so spoke to him, and we just vibed really well. And I thought, I'm doing it. Let's go for it.
It's so good that it almost seems really fortuitous, or like fate, if anybody believes in fate, that you coming out of your exam and you were like, do you know what, let's just check Instagram, because that's not the place that people would go to look for that kind of stuff. But that being said, people go to Instagram to find CeMAP stuff all the time, because that's how they end up falling across me half the time. So
that's where I found you, I'm pretty sure.
But you had the nice knowledge of being like, actually, I know that who this person is. I've worked with them before. I know that they're a decent human being, because picking your next step after CeMAP is the single biggest decision that you'll make.
Yeah.
And one part of the reason that I wanted to do this kind of podcast series is because I do get students that come back to me 6 months later and they go, I made the wrong choice. And that's hard. Because you've grafted, you've paid the money. Even if you just pay for your exams and you sit your exams first time round, that's still the thick end of 700 quid.
Yeah, easy.
And then that's without a masterclass or an e-learning package.
And your retakes and things like that.
Yeah. And if you decide to go into a self-employed role under a network, which I'll explain in a little bit more detail in a second, you're then taking the massive financial risk. Like, you took the risk of coming out of employed work where you knew what your salary was going to be at the end of every month.
And it didn't matter what I did, I always got that as well. Like,
yeah,
that's
like
the scary bit.
you could turn up to work and twiddle your thumbs all day long and you still get the same amount of money. And you jump ship completely to go...
It sounds so wild.
It sounds crazy. Like, did you have a backup plan when you did that? Or you eggs are in one basket?
Yeah, and I guess my backup plan was going working at Tesco's or Aldi or something. I'm the kind of person where I'd go and do anything.
Yeah, you will find work.
Yeah, like I'd always find a way to make ends meet. If that means going and working night shifts at Aldi, I'll be there. So yeah, I didn't have a plan B. My plan B was just like, fuck, I'll find a way if I need to. Like, but there was no, it's not going to work. It is tough. Like, it is a really hard job, and I do see why people do probably come back to you in 6 months and say, like, oh, it's not worked out, or like, this is really tough and whatnot. And there's some days that I just think, like, wow, this is hurting my head. But then you have a bath, you get an early night, you eat chocolate in bed and feel shit. And then you get up the next morning, you start again and you go again. And then you get that one, like, fab client that makes you, like, feel fantastic because they're really grateful for just the little things that you do. And yes, it is tough and it is quite mentally challenging, but my God, the pros that you get out of it as well are balanced out.
We were talking about this before we hit record, but there's no job in the world where you don't have a shit day.
Yeah.
Whether you're employed or self-employed, there is literally no career that you can go into where you don't have at least one shit day. And like, that transfers over into any job. Why did you consider an employed role? Or was that just not what you wanted?
I don't think I did. And I don't know why I didn't really, because I've always been employed. Yeah. I've never been self-employed from about 13, from my paper round. I've obviously always been paid and had that security, and both my parents have both always been employed and whatnot. So being self-employed is a scary jump, yes, but I'm pretty sure it was you that always used to say that, like, you know, you don't grow in your comfort zone. You know, I'm never going to get anywhere in that. But I just feel that, yes, I could have gone and got an employed job and whatnot, but I think I found comfort in the company that I'm now with and that I was looking to join, that I knew the people and I know their morals and I know that they're the right people that I want to do this next step with.
Yeah.
And that was a massive thing for me, that I could go and work for another company. And when I started my CeMAP, I actually wanted to stay with the company that I was with, but they were unfortunately making redundancies, and the other team that I wanted to sort of get into, there wasn't really many changes happening in that team either. And I didn't want to sit on my CeMAP for too long. I wanted to get it and go.
And run.
So yeah, it was scary, and I didn't really think about employed too much.
Do you think you wanted the flexibility from an hours perspective? Like, was that a motivator as well, or was that just an added benefit?
I think it's a bit of both, really, because yes, I think it was a very cushy job I was in before, where it was like Monday to Friday 9 to 5. But it did always used to annoy me where I'd have to be like, oh, boss, can I have that day off in 6 months? And they'll go, oh, no, Charlotte's got that off already. And I'm thinking, fuck's sake. And, like, you know, especially in my old job where I was a trainer, like, it was like, if you had training booked in, you couldn't have that time off and whatnot. And that was always really tough. And so, yeah, it's just the flexibility, it's the time and whatnot. And like I said to you before this as well, that sometimes, like last night, I worked till maybe like 8 o'clock, 7:30. But then, like, I've took the day off today, so
to drive all the way to my house and set myself and record a podcast episode. Which
I only came for the dogs.
That's totally fair. You've had a good fill of them, to be fair. I do think there's a lot to be said for the risk element of it. Like you said, you just jumped ship and had no plan B. When you have no plan B, you have to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, one way or another. And you were really... fortunate is the wrong word, but you had a good support network. You knew where you were going. You knew the people that you were going into, which is why I'd say to everybody, do your research on networks. Wherever you go, my biggest thing at the minute is people going to people that they know that are local, that are like 1 or 2 man bands, and then saying, we are desperate for mortgage advisors because we cannot deal with demand. That's great, but who's going to train them? Because if you are already drowning in work, who is going to train that person? And that's the biggest thing that I have at the minute, is people going to those small, close companies because they are desperate, but those desperate companies don't have trainers, they don't have a system, they are winging it, and they're just desperate for somebody but can't give that somebody the time, because becoming a mortgage advisor, getting your CeMAP is just step one. Like, after that, you said you're still learning.
Yeah,
now.
massively.
So having that training is really important.
And I would say that I'm lucky. I would definitely say that I'm lucky of how I fell almost into this job. Because, yeah, like you say, if I hadn't gone on Instagram, if I hadn't seen that post, if I hadn't kept in touch with that person, yeah, like, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. And was that time to walk out of that exam, to walk back to my car, my little fate drop that said, right, this is your time to, yeah.
Exactly. With the network that you work for, because one thing that people always ask as well is to do with, do you go with the company that provides you leads, or do you go with the company that you have to find your own leads? Because a lot of people don't have a plan for finding their own clients. So can we talk a little bit about that and how it works for you and what you do?
Yeah, so the company that I work with, they provide us with leads.
Yep.
I do have to generate my own leads as well. Yeah. Like, I can't just solely rely on them. I would say as well, whether you're employed or self-employed, networking is a massive thing. And I think you also have to be prepared to network outside of hours. Agreed. So be prepared to do like some evening networking, online networking.
So when you say networking, what do you do when you network? Like, what does networking look like for you? Because I imagine ball gowns, glasses and champagne.
I wish it was that formal. So there's a couple of different ones that I go to. So some are a lot less formal.
No champagne?
Unfortunately, no champagne. Okay. There is one that I do go to that does provide like chips and like picky food and things like that. I do like that
picky
one.
Bits.
Yeah, love that one. But yeah, it is just literally like sort of mulling around and talking to anyone and everyone. So it would be like, hi, I'm Erin, I'm a mortgage and protection broker. Who are you? What do you do? And they might be a web designer, they might be like food photographers, and like some people that you think like, I'm never going to work with you. Like, why am I sitting here and talking to you?
But you've got to meet people.
Yes.
I think COVID-wise, we lost that.
Yeah.
Like, and I something I still struggle with. You know, you came here today and you were like, Charlotte, you live in the middle of nowhere.
Literally.
Yes, by choice. And actually, I still have to force myself to go out and interact with society because I find it really, really hard. So, but you seem like, where do you even find the networking groups? You just stick networking into Google?
Yeah, so one of the networking groups that I'm a part of, so one that I do pay for, that I do highly recommend. Can I name drop?
You can name drop. Yeah, name drop all you want.
Because I love them. Which is a company called Cuckoo Connect, KUKU Connect. And they're based around Leicestershire, Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire. And you can be a part of one county or all three counties.
Yeah.
And I kind of live like bang in the middle of them. And I get FOMO. So I'm a part of all three counties.
I will, if you send me the details, I'll put them in the show notes for people. If anybody is in that area, they can check them out. But so do they organise networking events? So
they're fantastic because they do different events at different places. So the picky food one that I was just on about, that's really local to me.
Yeah, I love that it's called the picky food.
Love it. But that's called Ashby Connect. So that's around like the Ashby de la Zouch area, which sounds really posh.
It does sound really posh.
It's not as posh as you think it is. But it is a lovely area, so I like that one. That's really casual, that's just in a pub, and like I say, picky food, and then like different companies sponsor it each month, and they put on different things, and it is literally just going and talking to people, and some people you'll refer business to, some people they'll use you, and vice versa.
Have you found that you've like met a food photographer who months down the line has been like, actually I need a mortgage, and they kind of end up coming through?
Yeah, and as well, like sometimes you have clients that like, so there's quite a few accountants that I've worked with, that I've met there, that I've gone, I can now refer business to you and whatnot from there.
Such a good idea.
Because it might not even be that they need you for a mortgage, but it might be that when you're doing like a fact find with your client, and they're going, well, I've started this new business as a restaurant owner, but really struggling for pictures for my menu. Yeah. And then you go, I know someone.
That person, yeah. That's such a good idea.
So it's that as well, and it is about like thinking. So at Cuckoo Connect, one thing that I love about them is that it's so chill.
Yeah.
So some networking companies out there that are a bit forceful. Have you got us a lead? Who have you referred to this month?
No way.
Yeah, I'm not going to name drop them because they annoy me.
I mean, we can do. There is no. We name and shame on this podcast, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm not going to because some people do love them. And I think if it's pricking your ears right now, you might have an idea of who I'm on about.
But I have a question now because I wasn't going to talk about this, but it just feels so perfectly placed. So I've been asking ChatGPT where I can meet my future husband. And I was like, this is all the things I want. Hugh Jackman not on the list, so brush past that. Yeah. It said networking events. So I have just joined South Cheshire Chamber of Commerce. And and I was like, I'm going to a networking event on Friday. It's netwalking. That's where we're going. We're going on a walk to network. Obviously, I might get business from it. Really, it's just to find myself a husband. Yeah. But is it them? Is it one of the Chamber of Commerce ones?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No,
I was just figuring out if I was still in the 14-day refund window.
That is good. No, it's not one of those. No, think of a red company is what I would say.
Oh God, I wouldn't even know. But okay, interesting. We're not going to name those on the podcast. We will, if the microphone picked that up, we'll crop it out. So networking is a really good one. You get some leads provided from the company, and I'm assuming you get like a different level of commission. So you probably get less commission if they've given you a lead, and then you get more commission if you found them yourself. Yeah. And then you work off referrals as well. Like I have referred people, friends, to family to you. I also may be coming to you for a mortgage hopefully in the very near future. So that works out really well. Yeah. What would you say to people now who are listening to this episode and they're some way through their CeMAP, they might be on CeMAP 1, 2 or 3, and they want to consider taking the self-employed route? What would your advice be to them? Sorry, I didn't prep you for that one, did I?
Yeah, I think especially going into self-employed would be prepared to graft your arse off for a good 6 months. Yeah. Because I don't know what I expected, and I knew that I would have to work really hard, but those first 6 months take your mind of flexibility a little bit out of there, because that first 6 months you just need to be a bit of a sponge still. Yeah. Take on all the feedback that you get from any QA checks, or if you work in like an office. So I live like North Leicester area, and the company that I work with is based in Sheffield, and I try and go into the office at least twice a week because I sponge off them. They'll say, I've got this case, who should I put it with? And they've been working in the mortgage industry for 10, 15, 20 years. So if you can get in an office and you can just listen and sponge off them, do that. But yeah, I think I found it a little bit of a shock, because I think I thought that I was going to go self-employed. I was going to earn all this money. Yeah. And I was going to work like 2 days a week.
You work 4 hours a week for £250,000 a year. Thank you very much. But do you know what? There's so much of that on social media. Yeah. You see it a lot. And it's hard because when I'm selling the courses, I want to be like, okay, yes, you can earn, 60, 80, £100,000 a year. But actually, you're not going to do that in the first couple of years. And nobody's really talking about that.
So. And I was, again, really lucky that the company that I was working with, he'd really pre-warned me that it's going to take a bit of time. You are going to have to really just try and sponge as much as you can, and you're not going to find your flexibility for probably 6 to 12 months, because you're going to want to take those evening leads and whatnot, because a lead is a lead, and you chase after those leads as much as you need them. And when it comes to money as well, I've just done my first tax return. Got no shame in saying that. So my first tax year return was just a little bit over 20 grand, which I think, yes, is obviously significantly lower than what I was earning in my previous job. Yeah. But I look at my life, I've still been able to pay my bills, and I've got a fantastic partner that has been so supportive, and we've still lived our life. Yeah. So I've not missed out on anything, because I also knew that this risk that I was taking, I had to have a good chunk of savings. So I didn't leave my last company until I got my bonus.
Well done.
I was Googling, when's the last day that I can hand in my notice that I'll still get my bonus? So yeah, it is a big risk to take, but it's understanding that
Are you
it's
seeing
not
an
going to be
increase now? So
massively. I think the last couple of months in particular. So last couple of months I've been signed off to do protection. That's
amazing.
a big income. So
Loads of money in protection as an add-on, especially.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, something that I'd say is never turn your nose up to anything, because like to start off with I was like, I just need big cases, like people buying big houses, but then they take a long time to go through because there's so much more to them. Whereas if you get like a 150k remo, you might only get maybe 150 quid commission from that. Tell me who's going to turn their nose up on 150 quid.
The dick, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just about taking like little and often, and don't turn your nose up at anything, because everything is an opportunity, and it's all a learning curve for you as well. So,
off the back of, what advice would you give? What would you say has been your biggest struggle in your first year as a mortgage advisor?
Well, that is a hard one, isn't it, when you think about it, because it could be about three things. I think three things that sort of spring to the top of my head is, one, don't set your expectations too high, because I think the company that I joined, that I work with, are fantastic and like kept me very, very level-headed.
Yeah.
But I would sort of go off in my own brain being like, 6 months' time I'm going to be taking my fella off to like the Maldives and it's going to be amazing. Whereas he's still waiting for me to turn around and say we're going to the Maldives. Poor guy. So yeah, just try and be realistic, because I think I kept getting carried away, and I think I beat myself up sometimes about that, of like, why have I not hit 100 grand in 6 months? So just try and be really realistic with that. I think also be kind to yourself, because you probably will work a lot of long hours, and I wish someone had sort of told me that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes I was thinking like, I've got to work all these crazy hours because I've got to chase everything, which yes is correct, but also don't just work for the sake of working. Work because you need to upload those documents, or you need to get that dip or something. Don't just work because you've got time to fill.
I think that's really hard. That's something I still struggle with, where I'll be like, okay, I have time. I should be working because I'm self-employed, and if I don't work, I don't make the money. But actually, we get to a point where we're like, I know what I need to do. It's not that much. Enjoy the time that you don't have to work. And that's, I think, what most people, especially going from employed into self-employed, struggle with, is to go, hey, hun, you don't have to work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, and like sometimes I log on at 7 o'clock in the morning, but I might also log off at lunchtime to go for a run or something. Yeah. And, you know, there's no one going, where have you gone? So, yeah, I do quite like that now, but it is just getting used to that don't work for the sake of working, work for a purpose, which probably sounds really, like, silly, but...
It doesn't. As somebody who frequently picks up their laptop at 10 o'clock at night, because I'm like, well, Hannah's in bed, the washing's done, I should probably do something, and then I sit at my screen and procrastinate.
Yeah.
Having clock in, clock off times, or at least to-do lists, is a really good one.
To-do list is a big one, yeah. But I think my third one that I think I am a lot better with now, and that I would scream and shake at anyone, is make sure that you're doing it for you and not for anyone else. Because I think a few people that I've spoken to, like in the past, have sort of said, you know, I'm doing this for my family and for a better life for my family and whatnot. And then 6 months later have gone, oh, I'm working back for that company because like they gave me better pay and whatnot. Yeah. And I think I was like that to start off with a little bit. I wanted to give my partner and our future this fantastic life, but then actually very quickly realised that this job is very hard, but I love it, and I do love the challenge that comes with it. And I think if you don't love it, it's not for you. Yeah. And I don't know how you work out if you do love it, because I hated doing CeMAP.
Nobody has ever loved doing CeMAP, ever. So that is a tough one. But ultimately, it's a leap, isn't it? Whichever way you look at it, it's always going to be a leap. If you're lucky enough to be surrounded by mortgage advisors already that can give you an idea, great. But they're not going to tell you about the shit days.
But I think as well, like I say, my biggest one that I always think of when I think of like my biggest challenge is that I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it as much as, yes, I want a better life for me and my fella and our cat. Because she needs all the dreamies in the world. But I'm actually doing this because I love my job and I love helping people and I love talking to people and I love the people I work with, and I think that makes such a difference.
Of course it does, because you spend more time working than you do anything else.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you want to give the company that you work for a shout out? We didn't really talk about this, so you are welcome to. You're equally welcome to pass, and we'll edit this bit out. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think I will, yeah. So
Fab, go on, tell us about them.
So I work with a fantastic little company called Mallard Mortgages. So we're a little family-run business that's based in Sheffield. And so we're a part of the MAB network, so the Mortgage Advice Bureau. So we use all their systems, all their compliance, etc., which makes it quite nice. But we're directly authorised, so we just use all their systems, but we have our own branding and whatnot. But yeah, I'm so glad that I've joined Mallard. Edit. Helps if I can get the company name right, isn't it? But I'm so grateful that I work with Mallard Mortgages because they are such a nice, welcoming company to work with, and we're not a big company either, so don't start bombarding them with messages or anything like that. Yeah, I was just
going to say, this is not an official. You should go and contact these if you want referrals. If you want referrals, you can message me directly separately and I can send you some options. But it's nice to give good company shout-outs because there are some out there that are not so great. Yeah,
definitely. And I am lucky that I have landed on my feet really with them, and I get fantastic support from them. And yeah, I mean, now they're friends. They're not just colleagues, they're friends. And I think that makes such a difference. And when you enjoy who you work with, it makes life easier, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Except when you work on your own, then it's just me and my annoying self. Erin, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for doing this. We've been talking about it forever, and it's so good to get to meet you in person because that's not something I get to do with all of my students. Where can people find you if they want to say thank you so much for all of this really useful information?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I think on both I'm Erin Morgan Mallard Mortgages.
Cool.
So you'll see my little face on there.
I will again link you in the show notes so people can find you.
And don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions or anything. I can't necessarily advise you on who the best networks are to go with because I've been really lucky.
But I can help with that, guys, so message me if you want to.
Yeah, but if you just want to pop in and just say, I'm looking at doing this, what about this? Obviously, if I can't answer, I will probably ship you back to Charlotte.
Absolutely fine.
But yeah, I know that I think if I'd had someone that maybe I could have messaged at that time, it would have maybe took that bit of pressure off my shoulders.
Yeah.
But I was just an absolute wacko and just went for it anyway.
Yeah, so. You ran with it regardless. Erin, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Guys, if you've liked this episode, don't forget to leave nice comments and subscribe and do all of that good stuff because it does make a big difference. It does mean I can do more of this stuff. And I will catch you for the next one.